Pop this bad boy open. Looks pretty simple. Little air fork. Not too bad looking so far. Okay, there it is. 300 air. Right there. It has the, looks like there's a lockout. We have air. It's a disc mount only. And it's supposed to be an 85 millimeter fork. Looks like it does pretty okay so far. It's kind of an open box demo currently. I will definitely do a video of it once it's built onto the bike. Currently it's wintertime outside. Ice cold, snow everywhere. Been snowing like crazy. So, okay, here it is. I'm putting his front fork on here. It so far looking pretty good. I'm currently building the rest of his bike too. It's gonna be a little 9-speed. He's gonna be getting hydraulic brakes on the bike. A little 20-inch bike. It's gonna be a pretty sweet little rig once it's all ready and done. So far I'm getting ready to build this front fork. So as he starts riding down the hill at this point, the air pressure is actually quite low. It's maybe closer to 12 PSI. It worked really well, but as you can see, the compression is actually almost mid-stroke as he's going down the trail. It was a fantastic amount of pressure for him, but it actually reduces the amount of travel that he's going to have. Now, obviously he's not riding a big heavy downhill trail. He's riding a 20-inch bike. But having said that, if he was able to have the full 85 mil of travel and be able to ride down the hill with it have it be a little bit more fluid and smooth, I guess that would be a little critique that I could wish upon. But it does really well for the most part, and I think it helped his control. I feel like it helped him be able to understand how to maneuver through some stuff, and with having smaller tires, with having this shock absorb a little bit more, I feel like it helped him stay off the ground, which as a father and parent, that's always sad to see that. So in the next segment, it actually is a little bit more of a rough trail, and you're going to see that here coming up in just a second. And I think it did a lot better with it being a little more rough. Now, provided a kid is unable to follow through a really rough trail, so it's kind of almost like the fork just needs to be like in a slight in between. But for the most part, it's a fantastic fork, and I think it holds up really, really well for the type of terrain that a 20-inch bike is going to go down a hill on. I mean, this is like a 4-year-old to a 6-year-old, maybe 7-year-old kid's going to be riding a 20-inch bike, and how aggressive can they be? Turned out pretty good. We went out riding today. The Spinner Air 300 is a pretty sweet little fork for the most part. It turned out pretty good. It turned out pretty nice. I think it worked pretty good. I noticed that there is a little bit of residue that continues to leak up, almost like some sort of Vaseline, a little bit of oil, but it's kind of thick like a Vaseline. His bike rode pretty dang good for the most part. I'll go through and see how much better it looks once I do the video, but there's again some of the Vaseline, and it retains a lot of the dirt and dust comes out of it, which isn't my favorite thing. It means you just gotta be extra careful so the sanctions don't get scratched or anything. For a little about 40-pound kid, it turned out pretty dang good, and I think for that much weight it's gonna do a good job. Okay, we're gonna attempt to tear apart his front fork a little bit in hopes that it will show us some information on what's inside and why I'm getting this really nasty lube coming up out of there. It's like a lot of grease. And also to see if maybe I could make something a little bit better, maybe put a little bit better oil in it, or see if I can make it a little bit better. Fingers crossed that it works. Of course, you got your air on this side. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest with you. I don't have any information on how to make this any bit better. or even how this fork comes apart. I hope I don't mess it up, to be honest with you. But we're gonna go ahead and rip it apart and see if I can make it a little bit better. And see if we can understand the inside a little bit more, so that way all you dads or moms or whomever who pick up one of these forks, because I think they're totally worth it, especially for the price, will hopefully be able to see what's going on and see if it's easy to maintain, just like our other bikes. I know that's what we want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start tearing it apart, and fingers crossed that I don't mess it up too much. But, oh, got a little bit of juice coming up out of there. Okay, obviously it collapses all the way up, which is a good sign. I mean, it shows that, see that it'll even go up a little bit more, I'm sure, but you can see that it completely collapsed, so that means the fork does work properly, unlike some of those Huffies out there. But boy, I am getting quite a bit of oil coming out of that thing, whether that's good or not. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some of this off on the bottom and see if I can get this going. So, looks like they are just looped pieces down inside. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. It looks like they looped pieces. There's no wipers inside. That's probably why I'm getting so much residue coming up through some of that area. Let's see if I can take a quick peek. Yeah, just a bunch of grease. It looks like all I'm seeing is a whole bunch of grease. If I were betting, I'd just say like a 32 mil, and I could probably end up getting a dust wiper kit, sliding it down inside. You can see down in there, there's some green, which is what just packed full of grease, and that's where we could slide the wiper into. I would be pretty confident that that would be a 32 millimeter wiper, and if I put that in there, it would be a lot better. There's honestly, like, I just need a wiper, dust wipers. They didn't get it installed, and it honestly looks like, looking inside of here, it looks like there's even a place for them, but currently they're just caked full of grease. Looks like that comes out a little bit. Looks like it's greased to pieces. Tons of grease up in there. It's also appears to float around a little bit if it matters, but that one just easily has a little bit of compression. I think it feels like there's a little bit of fluid going on in that one as I push this one up inside. Feels like there's a little bit of fluid moving around, and you can kind of hear it a little bit too. Get a rag here. Guess some of the questions is, do I like the fork? Yes, I do like the fork, especially when it comes to a 20-inch bike and a kid on a 20-inch bike. Their riding skill at that time is going to be minimal, but that's our point. We're trying to teach them a little bit more so they can learn to ride, and I feel like this fork is very much able to help guide them on the path to mountain biking if that's what you're into, for helping their future in biking. I definitely think I would buy another one again for sure. I'm definitely pleased.